Hey everyone, I'm Greg Lambert, the editor of the LVN newsletter, and this month we are shining our spotlight on Michael Goulet, who's Director of Pricing and Project Management at Brown Rudnick. Mike, thanks for letting us shine the spotlight on you this month.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me.
All right. Well, we brought you on because of your role in the LVN's education committee, but let's start off a little broader. As I've mentioned to most of the people that have been on the spotlight, this isn't exactly a career path that most people pick going into college. So, what drew you into the area of legal pricing and project management?
Honestly, it's from my original first foray in finance. I grew up in FP&A and was not in legal. I actually spent most of my career prior to legal. Wasn't planned this way, but in sort of food related industries. I started out in the supermarket industry, and my last company before getting into legal was Panera Bread. And one of the focuses, so I was in FP&A at Panera and really spent a lot of time on food cost, and then actually moved over to supporting the marketing team. And how I see the relationship between that and legal pricing is that I really had to get into the weeds and understand how marketing worked, or food costing, and how the layers of cost related to the layers of the sandwich, if you will. And that's similar to understanding how to price a litigation, because you have to understand how many depositions, how much they're going to cost. Of course, all the attorneys are going to say that, this isn't commoditized work, but when you look at a big enough data set, you do find those patterns and commonalities that allow you to come up with your initial estimates.
Mm. Yeah. So, your role there at Brown Rudnick, what is it that kind of energizes you most about, you know, playing in that space in that sandwich, as you say, of analytic strategy and client service?
Well, the great thing about Brown Rudnick is, I spent the first, say, 13 years in big law at Wilmer Hale, and that was a great time, a great learning experience. But what energized me about coming to Brown Rudnick, which is smaller in scale versus Wilmer, but it's a law firm nonetheless. We're doing the same thing. We're helping people, helping clients. And what energizes me is that the firm is really looking to take on and become a world class pricing organization, something that firms have been doing for a while now. But as we all know, pricing is, I don't want to say it's still in its infancy, but maybe it's in the terrible twos. And it's still spreading across all different law firms. And the energizing part is the fact that there's so much to do and so much that pricing and LPM can offer any law firm.
Yeah.
Frankly, I see pricing as a profit center.
Good, good. Yeah, I think a lot of people when they hear pricing, they think that's something for the big firms, but I think there's a role in every firm when it comes to pricing.
If anything, I think pricing is more beneficial to the small and medium sized firms, because there's things either they haven't thought about or they haven't had time to do. And when you have one or two pricing professionals, you make a big impact.
Yeah. So, how did you get involved with the Legal Value Network? And then I know, as we say, no good deed goes unpunished. What got you involved in the education committee too?
Well, honestly, I go way back, and I guess showing my age, but I go back to the P3 conference. And really, I've been involved because I like the idea of networking and meeting people and learning from others, learning what other firms are doing. And it also goes to, it's funny, pricing usually resides in finance. You certainly need a finance background, or at least you need to know numbers. You have to be able to count. But one of the things that pricing has taught me and has helped expand in my professional career is my ability and willingness to talk. So it's really a communications tool, and you have to sell the partners and sell the clients. So being involved in LVN has been a great opportunity to talk with others and to see that we're all going through a lot of the same things.
Yeah. And what kind of work are you doing on the education committee?
Right now, actually, the first webinar that we're working on a webinar. It's going to be one of the first ones of the year, and it relates to, and I think it's really important. Again, it goes back to big law versus small law. It's a webinar on the differences that people have experienced when moving from large to small law. Or there is also another member of the team that went from small to large. So, what are the differences you've noticed? What are some of the things you work on now that you didn't work on before? And I really think that's important because I think there's been a big emphasis, and you sort of touched on this, that pricing is a big law thing. And it's not, it's a law thing.
Yeah. So, pulling on that thread just a little bit, what do from your perspective, working in both, what's a major challenge that firms still face when it comes to, just implementing these pricing strategies and making sure that they're doing things effectively?
I think there's a couple of things. One, it's sort of that soft issue of being able to get the buy-in from the partners. A lot of partners still feel, and some rightfully so, that they know best and they know what they're doing. And as long as I'm bringing dollars in the door, again, some people are missing the fact that you have to bring in the profitable dollar. So if you're giving away 40% of your rate, well, is 60% going to cover what you need? So a lot of it is in relation to that getting the buy-in, especially when you move, not to keep harping on it, but if you move to a firm that hasn't been in the pricing world before, it's, how do I get you into this car today? Like, it's that selling and convincing them. And one of the best ways is doing that with data. So it gets to my other point of you need data, you need tools. So a lot of us were either Adder or 3E shops, and there are tools out there, even SQL, if you will, but you need to be able to prove what you're saying to the partners because of who they are. The attorneys want the data. They want to do their discovery and see what the facts are.
Yeah. And how do you think LVN helps people, and what kind of advice would you give somebody that is looking for help through LVN?
To reach out, because I think I have yet to meet someone in LVN, either through the conference or we know who's in LVN, go on LinkedIn, and I'm happy to offer myself up as an example. Just send me a DM on LinkedIn. I'm happy to give you some input or just to commiserate, if you will, but reach out, ask for help, ask questions, or have you seen this? I think we all know, many of us know who have been in the industry for a while. We all know Stuart Dodds, and I reached out to him. Actually, I probably haven't spoken. Well, I saw him at the last conference, but prior to that, I just had a simple question on, hey, how would you go about pricing something, a specific topic? I shot him an email. I said, well, let's set up a call. We had an hour video going back and forth. So I think you could do that with a lot of people in the industry. And again, I would say anybody who's new to the industry or just wants to chat, I'd be happy to talk about it because I really think, again, we're a profit center, not a cost center.
Right. Good. Yeah, the community is outstanding and very giving. So, well, let me switch gears on my last question, and that's when you're not knee deep in spreadsheets and in SQL tables, what do you do that helps you kind of recharge and stay grounded?
Well, I do like to. It's sort of one of those, almost cliche things I like to read. I'm a historian by nature. I like to delve into the details. I really like history, but and also, really just detoxing and spending time with my wife and my kids. We're sort of foodies, so we like to go out to restaurants and just experience different things. I live in Rhode Island. I'm in New England, so we love the water, and with New England, you have the water and mountains nearby. So I really like being able to, um, experience both of those geographies.
Awesome. Well, Mike Goulet, Director of Pricing and Project Management at Brown Rudnick, thank you very much for letting us shine the spotlight on you this month.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.